Hi, I am Raphael from Stabbed and Bothered, joined by director, writer of Violence, Connor Marsden.
Oh no, there's balloons. Hello.
How's it
Hello.
going?
It's going so well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How excited are you about your directorial debut at Brooklyn Horror Fest?
I am over the moon. I'm so excited. It's interesting because nobody's really seen the movie yet. And I'm just like I've been like waiting for so long for people to see it that like I kind of can't believe that, we're just a few days away from like finally having like a real sort of like paying audience watching the movie. It's completely surreal. I'm so excited.
All right, and I did see the movie and I really, really liked it.
Oh, cool. Amazing. That's so exciting. You just like watch it at home?
Yeah, well, I have my projector, so I
Cool.
just plugged in my laptop and I watched this
Oh,
film.
wicked.
While I was watching it, I noticed that there's two characters. One is named Charlotte and one is named Charlie. Is there a
Yeah.
specific reason for that?
Yeah. Well, totally. So like in the movie, I feel like every character sort of has a mirror, has like sort of there's if you think about it, like Jimmy Jazz, who's one of the villains. He's got Waters, who's the other villain. Henry has a couple mirrors, but it's like there's Henry and there's Dead Ramon, who are kind of, mirror versions of each other. And then to me, there's this like kind of interesting thing that's happening where there's Charlotte and then there's Charlie Rocket. Those are two sort of like, both of the actresses, Sarah Gray, who plays Charlotte, Maddie Hasson, who plays Charlie Rocket. They're both these they both have blonde hair. They're both like roughly the same age. And there's something about them that like on screen, although they're styled very differently, they're totally their own person and they look different, but there's something about them that there's also a sort of connectivity between them. And they're kind of on each side of the spectrum. You have Charlotte, who's addicted to drugs, and you have Charlie Rocket, who's sort of the antithesis of that. But maybe Charlie's addicted to something else. We learn that in the movie. And so, yes, totally. While I was naming these characters, I, of course, recognized that Charlie and Charlotte are kind of similar names, but it made me like it more.
Talking about the cast in this is really solid, and ironically enough, the four leads all have somewhat of a background in horror.
Yeah.
Was there like a long auditioning process, or
Mm.
did you have certain actors that you have in mind for certain characters?
Yeah, so like the reason why they're all, from different horror films is because I like horror is my favorite genre. I'm always watching horror movies. And so like all of them are just, are people that I saw in each of their movies. The first person that was cast in this movie and like forever will be, so important to my life was Maddie Hasson, who plays Charlie Rocket. And she came on board very early in the process when we were casting the movie. And originally we were meeting about her maybe playing Charlotte. And when we hopped on this call together, I'd seen her in a movie called We Summon the Darkness, which came out, you know, a few years ago, probably in like 2019 or something like that. And then, of course, Maddie is also in Malignant, the James Wan movie, which she's amazing in. But I had seen her in this movie, We Summon the Darkness, and I thought she was so cool. I was like, oh, this like she just has like this really exciting energy about her. And so when I was like thinking about Charlotte, I was like, oh, like this Maddie would be so good for that. But when I got on the call with her, she said, listen, she's like, I read the script. I think it's really cool. I will play Charlotte if that's what you really want. But I would really, really like to play Charlie Rocket. And I was like, oh, I never really thought about her playing Charlie Rocket, but the moment she said it and the kind of excitement that she had about it made me excited about the idea. And we had this like amazing conversation. And by the end of that conversation, I was like, okay, you can play Charlie Rocket. Also, I just really wanted Maddie in the movie. So I would have let her do, if she wanted to play Henry, I probably would have been like, okay.
Henrietta.
Um, yeah, Henrietta, which actually, funnily enough, I know way too much about Maddie's career. Maddie did play a character named Henrietta, short formed as Henry in like a TV show she did when she was like a kid. But no, so Maddie was the first person we cast. And then, cut to like a year later and Halloween Ends is coming out. And I'm like the world's biggest Halloween fan. Like, some people love Star Wars, some people love James Bond. I love Halloween.
I get it.
Like Halloween to me is like out of even like the big three, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, which your shirt is awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, and Halloween it's the thing I just love it so much. And so when Halloween Ends was coming out, I was like, I was so excited. I mean, I really dug Halloween 2018, and I know a lot of people don't love it, but I thought Halloween Kills was really
My
awesome.
favorite
Yeah,
of the three.
Halloween
Yeah,
Kills rules. Everyone's wrong about that movie. That movie's actually awesome.
it's awesome. Yeah, I agree
It's
with that.
awesome. I mean, also, it's like it's a movie where like Michael Myers is like just slaughtering people for
Yeah,
not for an hour and a half. Like, isn't that what we go to the franchise for? But
exactly.
when Halloween Ends was coming out, I was really excited. And I don't know if you remember the marketing of that movie, but they kept Corey Cunningham kind of a secret. He wasn't really in a lot of the marketing. Like he was in, you could see like moments where there was like a character that they weren't really talking about that was in the movie, but it was like kind of a secret. So when I went to see Halloween Ends and that character like pretty is the lead of the movie, really, right? Like I was like, hey, I love Halloween Ends. I immediately loved that movie. I thought it was so exciting and cool. And a big part of that was because of Rohan Campbell, who plays Corey Cunningham. I just thought he was like so like I just loved him. I just like I loved him. I felt bad for him. I was afraid of him. And really kind of I've said this a couple times to like my friends, like my sister, but it's like there was something about his performance, Rowan's performance as Corey Cunningham that kind of reminded me of Jake Gyllenhaal and Donnie Darko. And like, there's like, sort of like sensitivity, this kind of like misunderstood, like brooding, like young person. And I remember like walking out of that movie and being like, I think that it should be Henry Violence. And obviously, I didn't think that really this is an independent movie and I'm a first-time filmmaker. So I was like, I'm probably not going to be able to get the guy who was just in David Gordon Green's Halloween movie, but it was just kind of something that was in my head and I couldn't let go of it. I almost immediately, every time I thought about Henry Violence and thought about the character and referenced the character, I was always like thinking about Rowan. And then, like, really lucky, just sort of circumstances happened where Rowan ended up on like a list of actors that we could reach out to. And so we sent Rowan the script, and Rowan, responded to it and I guess thought it was exciting. And him and I had a conversation kind of similarly to what we're doing right now. And I told him how much I loved Halloween and how much I loved Halloween Ends. And he said he wanted to do the movie. So we got him. And then Tommaso, who plays Bats in the movie, he's uh he's in Thanksgiving, the Eli
Hmm.
Roth movie, which I also loved.
Yeah.
I think it's so good. And, growing up, I'm 36 years old. So like growing up, like Cabin Fever and Hostel and all of Eli Roth's movies, they meant so much to me. Like they were like really formative experiences as like a horror fan, but also as someone that wanted to make movies. So when Tommaso actually sent us an audition tape. And when I realized that Tommaso was the kid in Thanksgiving, I was like, oh my God, like like I have to talk to this. I have to talk to this guy. And we had an amazing conversation. And Tommaso Sinelli is like just an incredible actor and just like truly one of the sweetest people I've ever met. So that's how like those three were locked in. It was truly just from loving horror.
I was wondering, where did the inspiration come from, for this movie?
Sure. Yeah. Like, so this is a movie that I'm almost embarrassed to say it, that I've been working on for 15 years. So I came up with this idea and this story and this character back when I was 21. I'm 36 right now. I turned 36 a month ago. And it was something that I came up with in film school. And I live in Toronto. Where are you based out of?
Actually, Montreal.
Oh, nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
Our cinematographer is a fellow Montrealer.
Oh, really? That's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, Vincent Béron, one of the genius. But so when I was in film school, I was like really, really into like alternative music, and I still am, and punk and hardcore punk music. And there was this band, this Toronto band called Fucked Up. They're like a sort of iconic hardcore punk band from the city. They're like pretty popular. Um, but one day, like in film school, across the street at like right downtown. Um, they Fucked Up was playing this free show right in the middle of the city. Like, and there was hundreds, maybe thousands of people there. And so many of the people had no idea who the band was, but it was like this free outdoor concert in the summer. So all me and my friends, we went to that show, and it was like, this hardcore punk band playing as like skyscrapers surrounded them, like playing in the middle of the city. And it was like, there was like mosh pits and like people were like, screaming the words back. And it was like just so cool. Like the visual of it was so cool of like this punk city. Like that was kind of like were the genesis of the idea. And I like literally like the next day came up with like it was the title that came first, the title Violence. And then really quickly, like probably within like 2 hours, I was like, okay, well, if the movie's called Violence, you know, how does that work? Like, how do you like why is it called Violence? Is it just a violent movie? And I was like, no, that it takes place in a punk universe and the character's name is Violence. Like there's like Sid Vicious and like these sort of like these historical punks that have like these cool names. And so really like it was just like it started with the title, then the character, and it really just spawned from like how do I make this punk movie something that's like more than just like a punk movie? Like I want to like bring in all of the stuff that I love, like all of the genre stuff that I love. So I was just like, well, it's a crime thriller and it takes place in this scene. It takes place like, in punk. And then, over like the course of 15 years, the story went from being like a contemporary story that took place like really like just in Toronto where I live and was like very sort of like realistic, I guess. And then the idea of setting it in the 80s came to me. I was just like, this makes more sense. People will understand this more if I set it in a time period like the 80s, because then I can make it more sort of believable, without having to explain all of this stuff.
Yeah, I really liked actually the punk look that the movie had. Even like the jackets that Henry would wear.
Mm.
And I kind of noticed something and I just thought of it now. There's one scene in the movie where he takes off his jacket and he had a red jacket and then he
Yeah,
puts
yeah.
it back on and
Mm.
it's black. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's like a reversible like
Yeah,
jacket.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
so that's exactly what it is. It's something in the movie that it kind of like it kind of got cut down a little bit, but the explanation is, and when you watch it again, it's all there. It's basically when Henry goes to the other side, like to the water side of town to find Charlotte, he reverses his jacket. So no, so the people don't know that that's Henry violence necessarily, like from first glance. So when he's at the movie theater, his jacket is that red jacket that you're talking about, like the sort of
Yeah.
plaid, like. And so then when he's leaving Charlotte, like once like in the alleyway, he takes off his jacket to give her his hoodie, like to keep her warm. And when he does that, he reverses the jacket back out. So then it's the black jacket that like he's wearing throughout the movie. So there is like an actual like story reason why it goes from the black to the red back to the black. But it kind of like, filmmaking and editing is, it's difficult to like get everything kind of over. So that's like one of those things where it's like maybe people will understand. It happened so fast, like maybe they won't care.
One last question before we go. Are you
Sure.
currently working on anything, and is it going to be in the same violent, gritty vibes?
Yes. So I just finished doing a music video with the band that scored the movie. This band called Nowhere to Run. They're members of another band called Code Orange, which is like this like incredible like sort of hardcore band. They have this new project called Nowhere to Run, and they scored Violence. And I just did a music video with them that's coming out probably I think this week actually. I think like on Friday tomorrow. And but yes, I have another project that is violence adjacent. That's very much still continuing in that kind of like gritty alternative kind of world that I'm really excited about. It's like if violence is like a crime thriller, this next one is kind of leans in like a more science fiction
Ooh,
direction,
all right.
but very much still in the kind of realm of violence.
All right. Well, I'm very excited to hear more about that.
Yeah, yeah. Like that, if they ever let me make it, we will definitely have another conversation about
All
it.
right. Well, I'm crossing my fingers for you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. It was lovely meeting you.
Thank you. You're awesome.
You too.